It's power.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Ready VIP. And on this episode, we are going to cross through the mirror dimension. We're going to pass over different phases of reality, and we're going to land in the Crunchyverse today because this is episode 10. We went big. This is our anniversary, and we have our first star on Ready VIP. Allow me to introduce Phil, aka Star Monster. How's it going, Phil?
It is so good. Can I tell you what just happened while you're doing that intro? A red cardinal flew in here and landed on this little beam above me. The most
Oh,
beautiful cardinal in the world. So this is a garage, and the garage is open here, and this thing just flew
what
in
a
and
great sign.
sang me a song, and then left. So, anyways, things are going wonderful. How are you?
The Crunchyverse seems amazing. You got Cardinals flying in, singing you songs, and I'm doing great. So I'm a huge Star Monster fan. I'm freaking out a little bit right now. This is going to be such a great episode. I'm really excited to talk to you about some of your music. We're going to get into a little bit about the cartoon work you have coming up and feature some of that in the bridge. And I'd love to tell everybody a little bit about how this segment came about because, in and of itself, it's kind of its own little miracle. So, it's like every good story, it starts with friendship. Jeremy, aka Wook, our resident Wookiee savior, our crunchiest of crunchies, he our love language is sending each other songs. He always sends me the best music. He has exquisite taste. Somebody that spends that much time at festivals knows good music, right? And so he sent me a song and he was like, "Bro, you need to like find a place and listen to this song." And when he gives me that kind of recommendation, he's like, "This is going to be good." So I get in my car and I crank it up and I pre-listen to another song to make sure the volume is right and everything. So I'm like settled in and I play it, and it is the mirror dimension. And I go nuts. I'm just in love with this song. It is everything I could have asked for in a dubstep song. Like, I haven't heard a song this good in a minute. And so we just start flicking each other Star Monster songs. Oh my God, check this out. You're going to love it. And so I share some of that on my Instagram. And Star Monster, being the cool guy he is like, "This is awesome." So I shoot my shot and I'm like, "Dude, it would mean the world if you came on Ready VIP. I love your music so much. Could I talk to you?" And being the dopest of dope guys, he was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And so here he is, Star Monster himself. And you have a great story. You have like such an incredible journey. I would love to hear about your journey, Star Monster.
Oh yeah, I do. Well, thank you so much for everything you just said. That means the world to me. So yeah, the story and how Star Monster started. It's kind of crazy. So I had a live band forever and ever called the Dirt Bros. We were a two-piece
Nice.
band. I played guitar and sang. Then I had a guy on drums that played a 1920s like huge big bass drum on its side with a mallet, and this like little tambourine from I don't know where it was from, Afghanistan or something, strapped to the top of it, and this dude would just beat this drum. Um, and at the time, we weren't into marketing ourselves whatsoever.
Mm.
The music was super early blues. We made woodcut posters for our shows, and we traveled, up in Vermont where he lived. We'd hit the East Coast. We'd go down to New Orleans and play shows, and we just did it for the love and the fun of it. That band ended up becoming kind of this cult legendary kind of thing. I think there's a cover band of for us, but like we never got that far with it. We didn't care about marketing. We ended up getting the Black Keys management team interested, and we started to work with them. Right at that time, I went to Burning Man, and at that time, I hadn't really heard dubstep or anything, and all of a sudden, first day in, it was all dubstep at that time. Now it's pretty much house. But at that time, it was like full dubstep everywhere you went. Here comes the Cardinal again. It's a pair of them. Oh my God, so beautiful. Anyways, um, and the first night I went to bed, I absolutely hated it. I was like, God, these
Oh
sounds
no.
won't go away. My head is just like playing all of the dubstep sounds that I had heard that night at once. And I finally got to sleep and I woke up the next day. I was like, okay, let's get out into the day. And somehow that night, my brain reprogrammed itself and completely understood dubstep. And I went out
Amazing.
and just, it absolutely riveted me. Like it blew my mind. I danced for probably 14 hours that night, like nonstop, just complete free throwing myself around and
Yes.
throwing dirt in the air and like whipping around and like I I was so deep into it. I understood the complexity of like all the little samples, all the little information, and it revolutionized me. And I didn't hear rock the same way after that. It like it was that seemed so, I hate to say it, boring to me after really understanding what was going on with all of the little hooks and parts of dubstep music. And so I went home and I immediately started incorporating that into my music. At first I was bringing my guitar and singing into it,
Nice.
and it kind of sounded a little bit like hippie sabotage a little bit. um, I wrote about 30 to 40 songs, and they're pretty fucking cool, to be honest with you, but I didn't quite feel like I had the electronic element down enough. And I was in love with it. Like I was just in love with the bass sounds and the electronic sounds I was hearing in dubstep. And I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, I want to make pure electronic music.
Amazing.
And that brings us to now. Uh, Here I am doing that.
Man, so like the idea of making new neural pathways while you sleep listening to music, that is so deep. That is like the psychology meets biology and chemistry that happens in our brain. You literally listen to music and thought, not for me. And the music was like, oh, I didn't give you a choice. I'm working on you. You're asleep, and there it is, and your brain wiggling it around, figuring it out. And you wake up with a renewed sense of just I can't wait to get more. And this is the musician in you because you're hearing all the parts and you're pulling it apart and you're living the enthusiasm. And then you take that into your music and you're pouring it in and you're like, oh God, I'm so excited to like just have that same enthusiasm when I listen to it in the music that I make. And it comes through. It really comes through.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like when you're really excited to make something, you hear that in the artist.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, there are some artists, quite a few actually, that are just so good and they've gotten so professional that I don't know if you're hearing the excitement or just how good they are at a certain point. But I
Yeah,
do with artists, a lot of times newer artists, you hear that passion, you hear that
definitely.
excitement, you know?
And that's an interesting thought there about like artists crossing a threshold. Like, not that they're disguising their passion or that it's not there, but they're so good at it that they can convince you of that passion all the time, right? Concert
Yeah.
pianist style, right? They might not in that moment be, Mozart, but they can convince you of the same passion and convince you of the music, and I think that's powerful.
It is, you know, it is. You learn the structures, you learn so many things about what makes a great song, and you want to elevate your music at some point. You know, it starts out with the excitement of just being able to make this kind of flow and being able to make this kind of thing happen musically, and then I think you want to take it further, and it the excitement's still there, but it changes, I think, into perfection or
Mm.
trying to achieve these higher things. And the listener ends up hearing it and is just mind blown because all of the sound, Ella's Dream to me is a great
Oh
example.
man, I love Ellis Dream.
Taking it to such a level, and you can't say that the excitement's not there because it is, but maybe I'm projecting, but he's able to pickle his song so much and take it to
Hmm.
the place where when you finally hear it, you're just like, God damn, these beats are funky and these sounds are fucking
Oh yeah.
incredible. And I think that's just a process of what happens once you've been working in that genre for a while.
And I don't necessarily want to bring up another artist's work, but I also love to share an artist's passion. And you're like, oh, I like LS Dream. So what's your favorite LS Dream song?
Um,
Put you on
Jeez.
the spot.
I mean, probably the one with my boys Exotics
Ooh,
on his
shout out
last
Exotics.
album. Yeah. Um, and I forget the name. Is it? Funkanaut or whatever. It's
Yes.
yeah, but I think that's probably the one. But I mean, everything he touches hits the same level for me. It's just always mind blowing.
So I have in the dub dimension, there is an LS Dream song right next to one of your songs. I play Moonlegs, and then it goes from Moonlegs into what team I'm on.
Oh, sick! Wow, huge respect.
Yeah. So I love any of the music with like interesting samples and like vibes that make you feel. And like Moonlegs takes you down a notch. You're like, I'm floating, right? And I wanted something that was gonna take that and turn it into some passion. And
Mm.
what team I'm on gets me pumped. Like that message is I literally, the first time I heard it, I was sitting right here in this chair and I was like working because this is also where I work and I'm in the vibe. And of course, Jeremy sends me the song and I'm like, oh, yeah, new Star Monster song. I'm going to listen to it. And he's like, bro, this is you in a song. Like, this is your mantra. And I was like, okay, cool. And I had my headphones in and it hit. And I'm like, the first part of it, I just start crying a little bit. I'm like, oh man. Like, okay, this is good, man. Like the passion that is being conveyed. By the end of it, in the second verse, like we're all in this together, whether you like it or not. And I was like, just running. I've literally said that phrase. And so it was just, it hit me right here. Such a good song.
Dude, hell yeah. I am. That means the world to me. And that's Matthew Silver, the dude's
Yeah,
voice and his
absolutely.
writing. That's me finding this beautiful thing that resonated with me and contacting him and being like, hey, this is incredible. I would love to use this. Have you checked more into him? Have you looked at what he does?
No, well, you pulled the thread, so I went and I had to Google and find out like where is this from? And so I've just started to pull that, but thank you because now the audience can go pull that as well.
Matthew Silver, incredible performer, street performer. You just have to check him out. And his messages are just so universal and so loving and so connecting.
I love that.
And he never breaks character. Like
Mm,
I haven't met him in person. We chatted a little bit through text, just very minimally. I was super grateful that he allowed me to use his vocal in that song, but incredible, incredible.
love it. And you've had some really interesting samples throughout some of your music. Do you have any favorites? Do you have any that you were like, I was so happy to put that in a song?
The Matthew Silver one, that's probably one of the most powerful. The Milky Way tune,
Yes.
that was like that was powerful how that came together. That came together through pushing that song. Like that song came together in pieces. I
Interesting.
I was writing the drop and writing those bass sounds, and I knew the feeling. I knew what I was going for. This kind of embryonic, kind of like you're going back into maybe your past lives, or you're going past your death into the future. That kind of feeling. And
Oh, I love that.
I was like, I need something here, and I reverse engineered it, and I was like, I want a death meditation. I want this meditation.
Ooh,
And that's what I
chills.
looked up on YouTube, and I
Yeah.
found that vocal. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I have to try it. And I wrote that whole intro for it and had that voice. And it was like, yeah,
Mm,
that's it. That brings you there,
it does.
And then the intro went through many changes too to finally get that feeling of, you know, what that meditation feels like to zoom into that
Mm,
universe or whatever. And then I wrote a second tune, which I've never really, I was playing live for a while, that is along those same lines with a different meditation. But anyways, that I think the Milky Way one was one for me where it was pretty. It was a big one because I had pushed the sample past what I had in the past,
mm,
and I it's like as you're writing the song, you're listening back to it, and it's like, okay, this is really cool. The drop is cool, blah blah blah. But when it doesn't. For me,
mm.
when it doesn't like hit,
Yeah.
when it's not like, I want this to grab me. I want, I've heard stuff kind of like this, blah, blah, blah. I want this one to really take me somewhere. And you don't know how or what you're going to do, but you push it in some ways. You sleep
Mm.
on it, come back to it after a week or a month, fresh, and all of a sudden a new idea pops in. So that one was the first one I think I'd taken a sample that far. So it's maybe
I
one of
love that.
my favorite ones, but
And the a masterpiece is never finished, only abandoned, right? And sometimes they're not even abandoned. We just sit there and look at them and we're like, one day I'm coming back to you. And genius is one of those things, it doesn't always, it's not always controllable. It comes in spurts and sometimes you pull from different influences. So like those different influences meet you at different times and moments. And,
Totally.
you know,
You're
art
nailing
is
it. Yeah. Very
wibbly
well. Just,
wobbly.
yeah, I feel like having fresh ears, like letting life kind of take you on these paths. That's why I do like when I get into my creative flows of like, okay, I'm every day for a couple months. I've got my flow, my routine
Hmm.
writing wise, but breaking that and just going on a trip or whatever, it always just refills
Definitely.
the cup, man. Like it gives you all that, all the new connections to all that new stuff. And then hearing those songs back again, you're like, oh, of course. Like I'm just hammering on this one aspect that I was inspired by, but I lost track of like the whole vibe of the song and
Mm,
feeling. And now it feels blah, blah, blah. And you don't hear that unless you open things up,
definitely.
and it's when I am in the workflow, my writing is so much better. My sound design is so much better. You fine tune that, but at some point it gets stale, and you need to open it up, and then it's like Hemingway was one of my favorite writers growing up,
Love
and
it.
he was like he had that you know what mode of working where he took years away. He
Hmm.
would go, box in Miami or whatever. He would go to Africa and hunt or whatever he would do. And then he would have something to write about. And he'd have to re-hone his tool. He'd have
Hmm.
to re-hone it because he would get kind of bad at writing. And at first he would suck. And it took maybe a month or two to get the swing back. But then he would have stuff to write about. And that's kind of how I am. Like when you get out of that flow of writing, it gets rusty and you've got to get back into cracking that crust off and like how does that flow work again?
Mm.
But then you have stuff to write about, and I don't know, it works both ways probably, and for each artist it's different, but for me I think my best stuff comes with that freshness.
Couldn't agree more. Having the right mindset, is a good way to approach art. And sometimes you have the wrong mindset and that approaches art and it affects your art too. Um, Speaking of mindsets and how you approach art, you mentioned very briefly meditation, and meditation for me plays a huge part in my life. So I know it's very personal to ask about it, and I totally understand if you don't want to talk about it, because it's about music. But how much does meditation play into your music, into your headspace?
Huge. I mean, I've been honing that for years and years. There have been different levels for sure in my lifetime. I think there was a period of time where I lived on this dirt road in the country, and I would meditate for at least 4 hours a day, and I would
Amazing.
I would get in touch with like the devas of each object in my house, like these creatures that might have lived in the ground underneath my house and in the area. Like sounds freaky, but I felt like I was.
Inward meditation is the best. Yes.
Yeah. And so there was that level, and now it's more of worked into my flow of lifestyle. When I go to
Mm,
bed, there's a meditation I'm doing. When I wake up, there's a meditation I allow for. And
awesome.
then throughout the day, there's a couple moments I check back in too. But it's like keeping this balance rather than journeying like I used to. Um, but it's also the seed of all my ideas, like
Yes.
reflecting on the stuff at the end of the day, waking up and like opening that vessel up for all
Hmm.
the new stuff that's about to come in and not clogging it with worries or concerns. If there's a stress, hitting that right off the bat, letting that stress go and opening that the pathways up to begin the day in a way where I can be productive.
I couldn't agree more. I'm super on board with both momentary meditation, where you have like that moment just to collect a little bit of your own power, and those long-term meditations where you sit down because it's tough from your day to day to deal with your thoughts and also touch your creative side, right? They kind of exist in different layers, and you have to pour that cup out to get to the underneath. And so meditation's a great way because you spend some time on the surface layer thinking about all your worries, right? The normal things. Then you get a little deeper and you think about the deep thoughts, right? And you're like, this is kind of like the me and where I'm at in my life. But then just under that, after you've thought about all the things that you could think about, is where the creative juices really start flowing. And so if you can do this at the beginning of your day, end of your week, whatever it is, and pour that cup out, you just connect to it. It's a great way to not have to deal with all those worries throughout the rest of your week. I mean, you're going to worry about stuff, but if you've had time, taken time to sit down and do it, it opens the doors for your creativity in ways that you might not have had a chance to touch yet. So you heard it from Star Monster, you heard it from old Bebop here. Give yourself a chance because you're all creative geniuses.
Absolutely. And I think the most important part that I found for myself when I'm going to create, when I'm happy and excited like a little kid, that's when it's the best. Like that's when
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying it, things are flowing, I'm into it. Like who wants to be writing a song when you're just, forcing it and
Yeah.
you're not into it? Like that's that I'm sure there's artists out there that go through that because they have release schedules and they have to get a body of work done and it has to be good. But that flow it is I wouldn't want that.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
dealing with those stresses and worries beforehand so that you can compartmentalize and be like, okay, I did the best I could here. There's nothing I can do about it. Fuck it. It's just going to take its own course. Whatever. I am free of it. Now my mind is free to play and have fun. For me, it's I have to approach things like that.
Love that. So what songs were inspired in that flow state? What was it that you were like, "Oh, that's my flow song."
I mean, all of them, I think.
Yes, that's the best answer.
Like I think pretty much all of them. There's some songs that were like, oh, I'm just gonna have fun. Like remixing of a few songs is like, okay, I this is a really fun song. I want to remix it. I think I can get something fun out of this for an audience. That might be a little different. It's still the flow
Mm,
state happens. I still have to flow things out, but you start to get into the structure of the previous song and the
yeah.
bass line and stuff. But I think pretty much all my originals, it has to come from that point, and it's usually like the beat,
Mm,
getting that beat the way I want it and messing with the drum sounds and then getting right into sound design of the bass and getting something that has a vibe and and that is complete flow state. Then I'm like reacting to it and I'm like
mm.
feeling the emotion of whatever that is and like resonating to it, and that's always coming from a real place.
Absolutely. Art from the heart. And you mentioned flipping some songs, like even your Running Up That Hill song, like that song is really good. Like you put a lot of work into that flip. That wasn't just like, all right, I'm gonna just restructure a little bit, add a drop. Like that song is fire.
Dude, thank you so much. I played a show with Peekaboo years ago, who I really, really admired, and I don't think he really knew who I was before the show or whatever. I was direct support for him, but I don't think he really knew. But he before he went on, I played that song, and he was like, "Boy, that Running Up That Hill remix." He said something about it, and it I felt really good. I was like, because I respected him a lot. But I put a lot of time into a lot of my songs. Like Game Over is probably 6 to 9 months.
Yes.
6 to 9 months on that song. Running Up That Hill was probably 3 to 4 months. Hard, steady work, like every day. And now I realize I don't like to do that. I don't like that kind of intensity and that amount of like time sucking into one thing. So I've changed my routine and now I've got a faster, much faster flow, which I'm really enjoying. But yeah, the Running Up That Hill song was like one of those ones where like I beat my head into the wall of like, I really want to make a good version of this. How can I do it? Trying a million things, getting frustrated, and then just grabbing the bull by its horns and just forcing sound into a shape like that. And I honestly feel like my best songs are kind of like that. It's like I don't know how the fuck to make these sounds I'm wanting that I'm hearing in my
Mm,
head. And I'm just going to take the tools that I know and just manhandle it and bend it into shape. And like with that one, it was arpeggiators and a pretty simple, like just plain uh probably a saw wave into like a bong bong, like one of the most simple sounds you could make, and then a series of loopers or delay and
hmm.
arpeggiators and doing some certain things with it. Where when I hit one key, it was like doing all this cool stuff.
Wow.
And then I freestyled keyboard over it and took the MIDI and just doctored each little spot that MIDI was
Amazing.
in based on my fingers just going over the keys in this flow state, and then like just kept working with that and rearranging it until I got that second drop where it's just like like just freaking out going everywhere. That was like, okay, that's something. That to me feels innovative and rings the bell for me. But it was a bitch before it got there.
I totally can relate to that. Art projects sometimes, man, when you like get into it and your perfectionist takes over and you're like, I won't accept anything less than what I feel is 100% I gave it my all. And that can be a bear. Like you mentioned 6 months on Game Over. Like I love that song. That song's incredible, but that's a mountain to climb.
It was over 6 months. It was close to nine. Yeah.
Jeez.
That was, and that was the one I was like, I can't do this again. Like, I can't spend it. And I sent it to my manager at the time, a friend who was really helping me, and bless his heart.
Hmm.
But I was so excited because I had been telling him about this song for like 6 to 9 months. I didn't have a release for that whole amount of time, I don't think. And I was like, this is what I'm working on. I think it's really good. I'm really excited about it. I think I'm going to get Seth Drake to master it for me, who was
Nice.
to me the top engineer. And I finally sent it to him, and I didn't hear back from him for like a month and a half. I was like, bro, like I want to release this. What's going on? And he finally got back to me, and he was like, yeah, man, I played this for people, and everyone said it sucks. And it's like,
Oh no.
it sounds like the first song somebody would make in dubstep, and sounds like somebody's first song. And he just said all these terrible. And I was like, whoa,
Mm,
what do I do? Like, but at the same time, I was like, no, this is a good song. This is a good song. He
that's
doesn't
it.
he doesn't understand it. Fine. I'm moving on. I'm putting the thing out. No promo, no marketing whatsoever. Just dropped it. And that song I think is probably the one people respond to the most of all my songs, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love it. I don't get to send Jeremy many songs back and say, "Hey, this is one you might not have heard of." And Game Over was one I sent him, and I was like, "How did you not send me this song? Like you normally are on this. Get on it, buddy." And he was like, "Actually, I haven't heard this song either. How did I miss this song?" Somehow we had collectively skipped over it, so we got to listen to it basically at the same time. And that song hit so good, man. Um, my speaking of like the dub dimension, I have it right next to an Excision song, 8-bit superhero. So it goes 8-bit superhero, game over.
Damn, that's good company. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Your songs are all in great company, man. I
Woo!
love I love putting Star Monster songs on my playlist. Um,
Lesson.
So we got to talk a little bit about your intro and your come up. We've talked a little bit about your music and your craft, but you have a great fan base. You know, I've seen some of them on your Insta Messenger as they support you. And so let's talk a little bit about Star Monster, the show. Where are you going? Where can your fans meet you? Beforehand in the green room, you were like, dude, I like to hang out with my fans. I go before the show, I'll hang out with them after. Like, what are we doing? Where's the after? That's dope. Like, that is awesome. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the Crunchy fam,
The Crunchy
just
fam.
the coolest people in the world, man. We're all of the oddballs and misfits. Like growing up, I feel like I was kind of weird. My hair was really weird, and
Hell
I
yeah.
dressed really weird, and I listened to weird music. And I feel like I don't know if all the Crunchy fam is like that, but I think we can all relate. Just be ourselves, man, and there's no other way. Like I don't think there's any other choice for us. And it's people who are, I feel like the fans that I've cultivated, I've been so fortunate because they seem so unjudgmental and so
Mm.
open-minded and so supportive and just free-spirited. And maybe all the fans in EDM are like that. And but I just feel super blessed to have this like incredible fan group. But yeah, I love, like, I would not just go and hide in the green room. Like, I love being out before my show and connecting with people. I'm so curious who's there, and like people wearing some cool ass stuff and doing cool flow stuff. I want to connect, I love making new friends. After the show, I love hanging out if I can a little bit. I don't really go to after parties or anything anymore, but um I genuinely love it. And I've met so many freaking awesome people through the last years, you know. It's just unfathomable. Like I can't even remember all the amazing folks I've met. But yeah, I want to make some merch. I'm right now I'm in the process of hatching like some cool merch idea just for the Crunchy fam. Not like Star
I'll be
Monster for
first in line.
Crunchy fam merch.
Yes.
Oh yeah. If you have any ideas. And I think what I want to do is just open it up to everybody in the Crunchy fam to send me art, send me ideas,
Love that.
and just make a collaborative piece with everybody's ideas.
I'm so in. I'll definitely send you some ideas. That sounds like I love art collaboration. I've said it on Ready VIP. I don't know how many times. All the best artists are collaborators because they're doing the one thing that humans do best, which is combining genius.
Hell yeah. I love that. Super cool.
You know, it's not one person that made skyscrapers or jets. It took a collaboration of many geniuses to come up with all of those ideas, starting way, way back, long, long before any of those ideas even were thought about coming together, to the moment you get on a plane with your ticket and go to that festival. And so, music is the same way. You know, all of the art that goes into it, all of the sound engineering, all of the electronic engineering to make all of the programs and everything. It is a collaborative effort from the beginning to the end. So shout out to all of the people at whatever level you're at doing your thing because you guys deserve it.
Absolutely. I mean, from the production, from the laser guys to the sound guys to the lighting guys to the VJs to
Hmm.
the people in the crowd, like the fans, they kind of steer the ship too. Like
Definitely.
their reaction to certain things, like would Excision still be doing his Shrek thing if people hadn't reacted to it? You know, like we're kind of
Totally.
the fans are dictating to the artist, like this is what we want. Like we want it to be like this. So
Love
it's
that.
it is a collaborative. It's a collective consciousness that we're all evolving.
Well, speaking of collaborative, I'm gonna lean in a little bit here. Crunchy fam, look, I need your help. Ready VIP deserves one thing from you. If it's that, it just blast Star Monster episode as far and wide as you can, right? Help us put out his story and how wonderful this episode is going to be. Because you guys, he's right. Like the crew makes it, the family makes it. I'm one of you. Like there aren't a whole lot of like I don't like to join a bunch of the Instagram like background chat things I can't even respond to or whatever. It's not for me. But you know what? I'm part of Star Monsters Crunchy fam. So we need to put it out there. Help me out, guys. You're in on this one. So back to Star Monster. Um, we have some cartoons that you have told me a little bit about that we're gonna play in the in-between segment before the interview and the afters. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Hell yeah. So, Star Monster Show, we've been working on for a few years now. We got about 15 minutes done of the initial clips. This is just kind of the blocking out period, the rough sketches of how it's going to look. It's not the finished look, but the cartoons are looking pretty cool. They will go through revisions and changes in style. But yeah, it's the story of Jethro, this little star monster that comes from a mere galaxy to ours and a mere Earth to ours. And this evil lord comes and hates the star monsters and invades. The star monsters just go off of happiness. They have a mirror Earth to ours, except the result of every one of their actions is positive. No matter if they ate something they shouldn't have, whatever, they just rejoice in everything. They're musical. They sing all the time. That planet is wonderful. So this evil lord invades, and this one little star monster, this little baby star monster, gets kind of jettisoned away and gets sucked through a black hole and winds up on our Earth. And so he's just going through his life on our Earth, but the result of all of his actions aren't always good. He eats a cop car, for example, and the cops get angry, and then Sergeant Pepperoni is this cop that gets angry with him and is always trying to chase him and find him. And he has this finds a little baby stray kitten that's his friend, and they go through this whole kind of Adventure Time style life together on Earth.
That's amazing. Oh man. So I'm a big cartoon junkie. I grew up on cartoons as a kid, and I never stopped loving them as an adult. Just the whimsy and artistry of it is a lot of fun. And I think there's something to be said about storytelling, right? You know, when you are a storyteller, you want to be able to convey that story and you use it through your music, you use it through your performances, and now you're having this outlet with actual art to be able to continue that same message, which is positivity and good feedback, and but also just the fun, having a good time, Star Monster party that I think follows all of the good vibes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I started out being an artist. I went to art
Hell yeah.
school and I'm a way better visual artist than I am a musician. Like I
Oh
should
snap.
not I should not be doing music. Like honestly, like art was what I was born to do. Visual art was what I was born
Mm.
because music is art too, obviously.
Hmm.
But I've cultivated that over a long time because I love it so much. But visual art is my thing. So Star Monster, a lot of the art comes from me. The
No
visuals,
way.
if you come and see a show, are very involved. And I've hired, guys like
Hmm.
Droid who's made some packages for me that are fucking mind blowing, and a number of other artists. But I try to make a lot of the as much as I have time to do. And the overseeing of the cartoon and the storyboarding and the
Hmm.
sketching out of how it should look and all that stuff. So that's
Phil,
for
that's
me,
amazing.
it's a component that I need to be there for part of my soul to be whole or
Yeah.
whatever.
I love that. Both getting involved in your own art projects to like really, have it speak your soul, right? You're having it speak from you. I think is really important for an artist, and it really shows your diversity. And that's the one thing that your music encapsulates too, is that artistic diversity, right? Whether it's moving from phrase to phrase or from the pre-drop to the drop, there is so much eclectic diversity in every song that you can tell you're not just pulling from a single influence, or you don't just have a single style. You have a garden. You're just pulling all of these different flowers out of and showing them at different times.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful way to describe it.
Thank you. I like to talk about music, and sometimes I get a little flowery with my language.
You're awesome at it. I love
Dooch.
it. You have a lot
Um,
to share with that. It's beautiful.
so with this, we're going to show a little bit of it in the bumper, and you guys are going to get to experience that. But I don't want to end on there. So one of the things that we always do here on Ready VIP is we like to give people a platform to say all the things they want to say, and we also like to ask some fun, silly questions just to kind of end on a little bit of laughter and goofiness, and get to know the artist a little bit better. So normally the first 9 episodes, I normally never produce the questions to the artist. I just I ask them on the spot so I can get that genuine response, right? The like the little bit of craziness. But this being our episode 10, I thought I would, you know, up the ante a little bit, give you some time to think about those questions. So the first question we have on our silly fun questions, are you ready, Phil?
Shoot.
Awesome. Um, What is your favorite monster? Either from cartoons, movies, media, TV. What's your favorite monster?
Totoro.
Totoro. I was not expecting that. Let's go. Miyazaki, shout out.
Is he a monster? Kind of seemed like. I mean, he at first he was scary. She
Yeah,
wasn't sure what was going on, and just she climbs on him and kind of rubs his belly or gets in his belly. But definitely
love it. My
Totoro.
neighbor Totoro. I think that's great. Totoro, I would put him in the same category as like Pokemon, right? Is it a monster? Probably, because it's not like not a monster, but is it a scary monster?
As
Only
an
way I
end,
wanted to be. Yeah.
yeah. Once you get to know him,
Exactly. I love that. Super fuzzy and fluffy. Um, okay. Well, that was easy. I think that was one probably a lot of the audience agreed with too. They're all like, "Wow, this is good."
Totoro is so sweet. I wish he lived in my backyard.
Hell yeah. You know, I this is why I meditate so I can go meet my own Totoro.
Exactly.
Exactly. So our question number two. What song of yours means the most to you? We might have covered this a little bit, but is there a song that like I know as an artist I have a song. It's not even my best song, but it is definitely my favorite song because of what it means to me. What is that song for you?
Game over.
Yep. That work.
Because of that story I told you with
Hmm.
the amount of time I spent on it, refining it, really seeing it through to a completion that was as good as I could make it. And then my manager rejecting it and me just knowing that it was good and believing in it. And then and then having it turn out to be, the song has gotten a lot of plays just because people have liked it. No marketing, no promo whatsoever. So that it gave me belief and faith.
I love that. I absolutely agree. Not that it's your favorite song, but the belief in yourself, right? That when all odds are against you, when even the people who are your sounding board are like, this isn't the direction you should be going, but you know in your art, as within your belief of your vision, this is right.
Huge.
And then the community comes through and they say, you were right. That is the best artistic validation because you followed your heart no matter what. And it takes courage to do. It is not an easy thing to do.
So hard. It's already daunting enough trying to pursue art in life. It's such a selfish endeavor.
Mm,
And it's confusing. Like you don't know a
yeah.
lot of times if you should be doing it or if the thing you made is really good.
Mm,
And then to have the belief through the outside forces telling you it's not good,
yeah.
to see that through, that's huge, man. That like huge respect to anybody that has followed that path and followed their inner voice and pursued what they thought was right through all
Mm,
of the obstacles, whether it's being homeless for a while, whether it's having to raise a child and having a family that it doesn't seem lucrative and possible that you should be doing this.
hmm
um God, so much respect to anybody that's had to struggle with that and achieves through that. It's a lot. It's a lot. My heart goes out to anybody in that position because I definitely have.
Absolutely. And there are some instances like I think this is the best case scenario when you believe it and you make it happen and then your fans are like, "Hell yeah." There are plenty of instances art doesn't give you that validation and that's okay too. Fam, like from artist to
There
an
you
artist,
go.
sometimes you believe it and you put it on the wall and you just do it, right? Like that and that's okay. 'Cause there are a lot of times where you will hear from every influence and negative voice, and even your own, that's like, this isn't good enough. And that imposter syndrome will haunt you. And the only
Mm,
way to overcome it is just to take a deep breath, have the courage a little bit to push yourself off the ledge, and keep
yeah.
going.
Yep.
And learn a little bit from it if you can. Because your next piece, when you believe in that piece too, and the next piece and the next piece, that belief snowballs. And you start to build up not ego, but confidence that the art is with you.
Yeah. There's a saying that failure is the biggest. I don't know if it's growth or
Teacher, for sure.
opportunity to teacher. Perhaps that's it. But you have to put stuff out. You have to, your initial pieces aren't probably not going to be masterpieces. Who knows? Perhaps they will be. Perhaps you're
Hmm
Mozart and you're a savant at age 5 or whatever, and you're just gonna like fucking roll this stuff out.
Yeah.
But it's probably not. It's probably gonna be a little. But fucking get behind it and enjoy it, and then be real about it. Like see how people are reacting and
Mm.
judge for yourself what needs improvement. This is an ongoing thing. You're not perfect right from the start. You have to get that skill set and be patient with yourself, push yourself, but be patient and enjoy the process. But yeah, the way you just put that and phrased it was very eloquent. Very,
We have
very
a vibe going on. We're on the same wavelength.
absolutely.
There's something special when you meet with artists and they get it and you get it, you're just in a vibe.
If I come back to Arizona, which hopefully happens
Oh,
here,
hell yeah.
you need to come out. Are you in Phoenix?
I live outside of Phoenix, but I go to all the shows within the big square, so anywhere you come, I'll go.
Cool. Where are you?
Peoria.
Peoria. I'm playing in Peoria, Illinois next
Mm.
weekend. This weekend. Anyways,
Little
um,
farther away from this one, but definitely.
I have good friends in Flagstaff, so I've
Oh,
like spent time there in the past, but I'm not sure where Peoria is. But Arizona is fascinating to me. I want to see more of Arizona.
let me help you get connected. I know all the people.
Love that. Hell yeah. Thank you.
No problem. So our third question here, and this is from me because I go to a lot of sets, I watch a lot of DJs, I have a lot of DJs as friends, and DJs are some of the most interesting, quirky people you will meet sometimes because they're artists who are living their art, they're out there like putting themselves out there in front of crowds, they're turning up the knob and they're controlling all the energy and they feed off of it. And they also tend to have some of their own little quirks, right? Those little things that make them them, whether it's how they wear their headset when they're on stage, or maybe it's the little dance they like to do. What is Star Monster saying when your friends see you on stage or you see yourself in a video, maybe it's shadowy, and then you see yourself do the thing, you're like, oh, that's definitely me. What's that tick?
It's the schwiggle.
Oh, it's the Schwiggle. I don't know about the
The
Schwiggle. Tell me about the Schwiggle.
schwiggle. The schwiggle is my little dance. It's my
Love it.
little dance that I'm doing, and crowd interaction. Like I get down in, even if it's hard to climb down through the barricades and stuff, I will
Mm,
climb down into the audience at some point, and I will schwiggle with you.
fuck
Like
yeah.
if you're up on the rail, expect to get schwiggled with Star Monster.
Oh, we're gonna Schwiggle. We're gonna get this on video. Ready,
Hell
fans?
yeah,
Get ready for the Schwiggle.
hell yeah! It is the most stupid dance, and I don't even know how it started. I think I was trying to be stupid on a video for the NLE Choppa song, and I was like,
Mm,
what can I do on camera that would crack me up? And I was like, fucking schwiggle. I'm just gonna get down and schwiggle.
love it.
But yeah, it's a thing.
That's too funny, man. It's definitely something when you have a little dance or something, like it's iconic, right? It becomes part of like the Star Monster persona.
Do the stupidest stuff, dude. I get so mad at myself. It's like, why did I do? Because now it is my freaking thing, and it's a stupid fucking dance. It's
It,
called a schwiggle. It is so dumb. But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's me. It's me.
Love it. I could sit here and talk to you for hours, and I'm probably sure that we would have enough content to fill it like for 5 episodes. Um, But I do want to close us out here with the opportunity to have any closing remarks. If there's anything you want to say to your listeners, your fans, your friends, your family, the Crunchy fam, I would like to open the floor and give you that chance now.
Wow, that's a big one. I love you guys. I love you, Crunchy fam, more than I can ever express. I never even thought I would have fans, so my heart just so connected out with you wherever you are, being yourself, experience life the way you want to, do the things you really want to, pursue what you want to, be yourself unashamedly. I love you guys. Thank you for giving me any attention you have.
Oh, well, we love you too. Thank you so much, Phil, for being on here. Do you want to give any shout outs on the way out? Any other fam, DJs, friends you want us to
Shout
tag?
out to my daughter who, is been raising up, and she is really awesome with just who she is as a person, man. She constantly teaches me every day how you
Oh.
need to treat people, what's important in life, and helps me a little bit with my clothing choices too. So,
Shout out girl dads, man. I got two myself. And before
oh,
like pre-festival, I'm like, what do you think? These shoes and this hat, this jersey, and dude, am I color there's too many colors, right? And they
oh,
know. She's like, oh dad, you don't people don't wear socks like that anymore. You can't wear those socks. Go get your eyeball socks with the ones with the eyeballs, go get the eyeball socks. And I'm like, okay,
yes. There you go.
you
Yeah.
know.
I thought of myself as a peacock for a while, and now looking back, I thought think I was out to sea, bro. I had no idea. She's got me reined in. She's
Love
like,
it.
no, this with this, and like this is not indicative. This is me like working this afternoon on some tunes, and this is what I'm wearing. But
You didn't
anyway,
pre-consult your stylist?
she's not gonna be happy about this. She's gonna be like, Dad, you look like you live on the street. Like you look like you're homeless,
Dad,
living.
you went on the interview like a hobo. Yeah, I can totally hear my daughter saying something like that.
Yes. But much love.
Okay,
It was awesome to do this with you. You are wonderful. I consider you a friend now. I can't wait
absolutely.
to meet you for real in the future and hang out in Arizona.
Definitely. It's gonna be amazing. You're welcome here anytime. Come crash on my couch. We'll go hit up some shows.
Sick.
Um, Ready fans, Crunchy fam, and everybody in between. Thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Ready VIP. Thank you, Phil, for being our VIP today. You have been absolutely wonderful. It has been an incredible chance to interview one of the best. And for anybody who hasn't, go spend some Star Monster, listen to it, put it in your sets, put it on at work, wherever you're at in the car, just jam out because it's not only just good music, but you know it's coming from a great person.
Love you. Thank you.
I always like to give our guests the chance to have the last word. Would you like to say, actually, we're not going to say roll the music today because we have cartoons. Would you like to say roll the footage?
Here's the Star Monster Show.
What is this place? Mirror dimension. Mirror dimension. It just blows my mind.
other instead of judge each other. Stop! You're all looking at me!
Hotter, hotter buns, hotter, hotter fire. Hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter lava. Hotter, hotter buns, hotter, hotter fire. Hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter lava. Hotter, hotter buns, hotter, hotter fire. Hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter lava. Hotter, hotter buns, hotter, hotter fire. Hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter lava. Hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter bun, me say hotter, hotter fire.
Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity. Romeo and Juliet. 40,000 men and women every day. Romeo and Juliet. 40,000 men and women every day. Redefine life. 40,000 coming every day. Come on, baby, don't feel the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't feel the reaper. We'll be able to fly. Don't feel the reaper. Baby, I'm your times have come here, but now they're gone. Seasons don't feel the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. Come on, baby, don't feel the reaper. Baby, take my hand, don't feel the reaper. We'll be able to fly, don't feel the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la.